All right. Hmm. Just testing things out. I have no idea what's happening. It seems to be delayed. Well, I'm gonna go through with it. I'm gonna do it till the end. Okay. All right, let's just go for it. Maybe it's not delayed on anybody else's end but mine. Right. All right. We're gonna get started in just a minute. If anyone is here, welcome, welcome. Please make yourself known in the chat if you'd like to say hello. Just testing something here. Bear with me. Okay, great. Excellent. Okay. So, this is a message going out to families of neurodivergent teens. Every parent I work with tells me the same thing. I want my teen to be independent, to be confident, and ready for the world. But the truth is, most families, even the ones who are doing everything right, most of us miss the key steps that actually move us toward independence, especially for neurodivergent young people. So that's what we're going to be talking about here. Confidence, creativity, and independence. So um, in today's live workshop, I will go through how to develop confidence, creativity, and independence in your teen. And here's the twist, it's not what schools usually say, but by the end of this video, you should know how to avoid these common traps and how to set your child up to thrive well into the future. It'll include some resources that are free, as well as if you need some support and you don't want to do this alone, some pointers on how to get one-on-one support. Welcome to Off the Beaten Path, the YouTube channel. I'm Dominique Paloma Bible, and every Wednesday I'm going to get on live and help families like yours. And for the next 6 weeks, we're focusing on independence. That's funny. It says that okay. Moving on. So who am I? Dominique Paloma Bible. I have my master's in community education, and I'm the founder of Off the Beaten Path Learning, LLC. offthebeatenpath.com. The is with a D as in dog, A as in apple. I'm Dominique, a neurodivergent and disabled educator, born in Brazil, raised in New York, Brooklyn, New York. I have been an educator since 2010. I've studied inclusion, I've studied culturally responsive pedagogy, and I've worked with over 1,000 learners. Again, I have my master's in community education, founder of Off the Beaten Path, and what we do is we empower neurodivergent teens to access their own genius through self-directed one-on-one education. So what's the problem? The problem is that even with the best schools, private tutors, all the resources money can buy, very often we hit these same walls. Disengaged learners, kids not doing their chores, teens not cleaning up after themselves, or worse, getting involved in negative peer influences, feeling very lonely and isolated, not having any friendships, etc. So my point being is that the problem goes far beyond bad grades, which is what we tend to be obsessed about. It spills over into bad moods, bad mental state, low confidence, low self-esteem, low self-efficacy. Learners don't know that they have a choice. They don't know that they have power. So even with all the tools, even with all the academics, even with all the information, they're stuck. They're bored. They're confused or they're lost. And they don't know how to utilize any of those tools or information because they don't know their own power. So when I'm talking to you about the missing piece, what I'm really trying to say is that the missing piece is power. And we'll get into what you can do about that. Yeah, bad grades, bad moods, bad mental state, all of that. Kids not knowing that they have a choice. And here's one kid I worked with who does know that they have a choice, though they're not a kid anymore. So how to become powerful? Powerful. Power is the ability to enact change onto something or someone. In physics, it's about how much energy was transferred. Webster's says that it's about producing a change in something. So how do you produce a change in something? The best technique for exercising and developing power is decision making, hands down. Through making thoughtful choices backed by reflection, this is called praxis, and it's the mix of action and reflection, and it's the basis of how we learn. Off the beaten path learning, our mission is to empower through choice, and we use self-directed education because it is the model that allows learners to choose what problems to solve and how. And this is the stuff, y'all. This is the stuff that's really, really empowering. Through this process, they develop their confidence, their creativity, and their independence. So, I mean, quick, like sneak preview thesis of this whole workshop is that how you can develop power in your kids is to respect the choices that they make. Unless those choices are immediately harmful to themselves or others, and you have to step in, then reflect with them on the choices that they're making. Be aware, be involved, but trust, and listen to them and listen to their opinions. They are valid. Listen to their feelings. They are valid. Listen to their choices most of all. Recently, I went to a learner and I suggested a couple of programs that I thought really fit their needs, their wants, what they had been asking for in terms of like, I want to do a class, I want to do it in person, I want to do it with other teenagers. I thought all of this was wonderful, so I came to them with some options. They turned every single one of those options down. They said, this is not the right fit, that's not the right fit. None of it is the right fit. It's at that point that the adults in the room need to step aside and say, I'm proud of you for standing in your truth, for making this decision, because that support will allow them to continue to trust themselves and to continue to listen to themselves because they know the power that they have and they've used it before. So I have this current learner, and he knows absolutely everything there is to know about Pokemon. He is in middle school. He struggles with ADHD. He struggles with autism disorder, um, autism spectrum disorder, and he struggles with pervasive drive for autonomy, also known as PDA. When I first met his mom, she said that he was known to be mean to teachers. And immediately I knew that off the beaten path could be really helpful to him, that it could make a really big difference. Because it's a place that's free, that's flexible, that's familiar, and it's structured in such a way that it can contain the learning and accomplishing that he is doing in an orderly fashion. And so far, we've only worked together for 3 months, almost, not even 3 months. And he has created 10 original works. These are all projects that require hours of dedicated focus, usually not on a screen, usually working with his hands. And when we have meetings, we have an hour and a half of meetings every week, split up into 3 meetings. When we meet, we debrief, we reflect, and he is able to share back using technical vocabulary, showing off his comparative analysis skills, showing off his critical thinking skills, his problem-solving skills, and other skills that he has clearly used in creating these original works. He made a gear shift. He made several figures. He made like a vacuum. I'm forgetting what it's called. It's not an actual vacuum, but it actually does make motion automatically, which was really impressive, and I didn't completely understand it. And maybe more importantly is his general spirit is kind of doing something new. He cleaned up his room without being asked. He did the dishes. He's spending time with family. There are just generally less meltdowns and more moments of joy, greater independence, and doing things that he hasn't ever been able to do, not ever before. And I attribute that to listening to his choices, following his lead, being proud of the work that he's doing. This is a picture of Whale Lord, and you'll see why in the next slide. This is a whale shark. This text we've already seen, so we're just going to move on. So the difference between Off the Beaten Path and the best schools, the tutors and the resources, is a blend of, yes, academic training, yes, collective professional experience, yes, a founder with 15 years of professional experience and a master's, but moreover, a lived experience of the problem. The mom of that kid said to me, she gets it. She really gets it. She said she was talking to her husband, and she was like, yeah, she just really gets it. And I think that this is so important. As a consumer, me, as a personal human being walking around in the world, I struggle with my mental health. I have other disabilities, blah, 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 blah. And the professionals in my life almost never, in fact, one time did they step into their lived experience. It is rare and so unfortunately missing to have professionals tap into their lived experience. And it is only because, I think, at least primarily because, this organization is neurodivergent led, disabled led, dropout led. I've been there. And so when students and families come to me and they're experiencing years of chronic absenteeism, years of depression, years of struggling, years of suicidality, years of bad grades and not being able to do anything, be interested in anything, know what they're about, they find so much solace in someone who can hold them up professionally, but also in a way that's genuinely empathetic. It's so important. So now I'm going to get into some Q&A. What does a meeting look like? This is what a meeting looks like. This here is also what a meeting looks like. These are all meetings. Meetings can also be in person. They look like different things, but the point is that it's primarily reflection. So the bulk of the work happens outside of a meeting. The action is independent. And then we come together and we reflect. So meetings can look like, we set an agenda, we learn, we do some co-working. We might do some co-working where they're writing or I'm writing. For them, they may even be using their spoken word, and then I'm just transcribing for them, and then they clean it up later. Reflect, takeaways, next steps. This changes based on their needs, based on whatever they're doing at that time. What is the curriculum like? It depends. Some learners request a custom curriculum, so we co-create that document. Some learners are homeschooled in high regulatory states, and so we put together a document for the state regulations. A curriculum is not mandatory, and it's really only as is helpful to each and every person. And I also want to say, because sometimes it might unnerve a family, a parent, to think that there's no curriculum. But it's what's best for the kid. So if the kid is needing a curriculum, we get that for them. And even if we don't worry, we get results. The above example, the kid that really likes Pokemon, there's no curriculum. He's just making, building on his own independent, motivated, ideating self. Who will be the mentor? This depends on your teen's goals, strengths, needs. We match them with the best person for them. We make sure that they meet so that it's a good fit. And this can be in person or online, whatever they need. If you'd like to learn more, you can schedule using this QR code or go to the website. If they only need help with just one skill or just one subject, then we can find someone who's a master in that field. You determine the requirements and the qualifications for that role, and Off the Beaten Path will lead the way. What does it cost? $300 is the standard weekly rate for now. And what's included in that is an hour of one-on-one learner meeting, and built in is the family meeting time and any preparation, advocacy, research, documentation, communications. All of that fits under that standard rate. If you need resources right this very minute, check the link in the description. I'll leave that there, maybe in the comments as well, and you can grab that. That's for free, and it's just a bunch of resources. The last thing I want to mention is that if you mention YouTube, get a discount 1 week free. And that's it. Thank you for watching. If you have any particular requests on what your questions are, what your curiosities are about how can you give that roadmap to independence for your teen, your neurodivergent teen, feel free to reach out. Put a comment in this video, put a comment in some other video. Reach out and tell me what you're needing to know. Thank you.